All right, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Taneytown Athletic Association meeting, and that is for September 13th. All right, so I'll call the meeting to order now. We'll start with our association reports. You probably have a lot to tell us. What, the last time we were all together? Was it May?
That was my.
So May was here, summer was here, and now look where we are. So, all right, who wants to go first? You can fight over it. All right, come on up. Make sure the mic is close to you.
Close to me? All right.
I don't
mean,
know
I'm
if I
not
can-
loud enough?
I don't know if I can.
All right.
Can we hear?
Bill
Okay.
Rose, representing FSK Junior Eagle Soccer. Since we last met, our season started actually this past weekend. We have a total of 371 registers. We have 30 teams. We also added a high school boys team. Let's see, Snack Shack repairs have been done. The only thing I recommend is doing some stone
Yes,
around so it can still breathe underneath of it.
yes.
We have a dine out night at No Anchovies on 9/18, 9/19. We're running a sub fundraiser from October 2nd to October 16th. And our youth soccer night at FSK will be October 10th and 12th. And we also are running a cash raffle, which is underway, and the drawing will be November 18th. I think that's pretty much it. We're utilizing pretty much every square inch of field that we can get hold of. We have 2 fields at THS Park. We have 3 fields over at the middle school, and I think the way we line the fields at Roberts Mill, we have I think there's 5 or 6 fields at Roberts Mill, so it's growing. Hopefully the expansion will come soon, but that's pretty much what we have.
30 teams.
30 teams.
That is crazy. No, excellent job.
Yeah.
And trying to find coaches and volunteers for
The
that is pretty amazing.
The volunteers. It seems to be the same old people, the same people
The
volunteering.
rotation of parents, yes. Yes. But no,
Even
that's
even the rotation of parents that don't even have kids playing in the programs that are still sticking around.
Oh, wow, that's nice.
That's dedication.
Yeah.
So they believe in the program. So no, it's built wonderfully. Congratulations.
That's
Does
us.
anybody have a question for Bill?
Just well done.
All right.
Yeah.
Thanks. Thanks.
All right. Next, come on up to the plate, Stephanie. All right, make sure you're close to that mic. People need to hear you.
Don't forget
Sorry.
to speak up on my account, please.
Can you hear me?
I'm sorry.
Okay, we have 3 programs to talk about.
Yep.
Football is got 120 kids registered, which is more than we have had. We had to turn kids away because our league maxes our teams at 30. So we are full at every level. We actually split our Smurf team into 2 teams. One is playing in one league and one is playing in a separate league, just so we could keep kids busy. So we are working on finding a way to grow our program and let kids play, because like I said, we turned probably 25 or 30 kids away because we just didn't have a place to put them. We're in week 4 of games for football. Everybody seems to be playing well. The 7U team that's in the CCYFL, I don't think they've lost yet. The Smurf team in the KYFCL, they don't keep score, so it's just instructional. JV has won 3 games, lost 1 game. Mid-varsity has won 2 games, lost 2 games. and varsity has lost all, all their games, so they are struggling. All the varsity kids are 12, and they're playing against the 13 and 14-year-olds, so
Yeah.
they are just
challenging.
little
Yeah.
compared to some of those kids, so. We just need some bigger kids. Moving on to cheer. Cheer has grown too, so we went from about 25 to 30 sideline kids last year. We're up to 60 this year.
Wow.
The older girls are still practicing.
60?
Yep.
Oh, my gosh. Okay. All right. Sorry.
Yep. The eighth graders are still practicing outside because the community room is not tall enough for them to practice inside. We are sharing space on Sundays between the 5 teams. High school has gave us some space, like a 8 to 12 time slot, so all 60 girls are rotating in that 4 hours. The younger girls are still getting 1 night a week at the community room, which is working out okay for them. They have bingo coming up in November, a Halloween dance at the Legion in October, and I think that's all their fundraisers right now. And then softball just started. They have 7 fall teams all across the groups. So you're looking at another 80 kids there. Their game started last week, and they don't have fundraisers planned yet, so their meeting's tonight. See how it goes. That's all I got.
Does anybody have any questions for Stephanie? Anything?
Well, I just want to put out there, again, for fundraisers or any kind of, events, announcements, anything like that. I've been trying to scan the pages, the Facebook pages, and then share over to ours. I've got a question.
Sure.
It's often on these games when you do game announcements or what have you, tournaments and that kind of stuff, and I share them on my page. I get these. I think that it's spammers, like game recorded live broadcast on whatever with a link.
Yeah, it
I'm like,
is
okay,
spam.
okay, yeah, I've been deleting them. Like, okay, I don't know what you're trying to fish for here, but yeah,
We get them too.
Okay.
I don't know what they are.
yeah, yeah.
I don't know how to
okay.
get rid of them.
Oh, I just go over and just delete because they do it on the comments.
Yep.
On the post, so I just go over to the 3 little buttons and delete comment. No sooner do I delete one than another one pops up. Game broadcast live on whatever link. Delete. So.
Yeah, totally spam.
But anyway, and we can also make use, not only on the Facebook and social media sharing, but the variable message sign, the digital sign. I mean, whatever it is, Dan would probably have to truncate it. Yes, we've got that one for the No Anchovies fundraiser, yeah. So, if you've got something, send it to me, and then, like I said, Dan would probably have to truncate it a little bit, to get it up there so that it's readable as cars are going by, but at least if we get, whatever it is, and the date, time, or whatever, get the basics up there. That'll help too.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
Yep.
Okey dokey.
So I think we're good with Stephanie. You good? Okay. Lorena, did you get any emails from any other leagues with any other updates?
I did not. I did not get a report from baseball. I know that lacrosse is kind of, for lack of a better word, dormant right now. They don't have they only have a spring season, so, and no word from basketball or field hockey.
Okay. All right. Well, then, with nothing else, then you can just go on to, with old business and updates on construction improvement projects then.
Alrighty, I'll roll right on through. There's going to be some tree trimming and removal. There's going to be a lot in Memorial Park. It's been deferred for a couple of years, so there are a couple of trees in Memorial Park that they've been dead or they are dying out almost completely, so those are going to be removed. It shouldn't be anything that's going to affect any gameplay or parking or anything like that. Roberts Mill as well. think we're okay around the fields, so we should be good there. A lot of the work is gonna be around the pond, and such.
Trees that you guys took down, that like really opened that space.
Yes, yes, it did, yeah, for sure. Um, And at THS Park, but again, that's not gonna affect softball. We're mainly just clearing out some of those scrub trees near the parking lot and then trimming those cypresses back away, so we have a better line of sight for the camera. The fence, speaking of the soccer fields over there where we took down those trees by the concession stand and everything, the fence behind Food Lion and Wance Chevrolet is finished. So hopefully, yeah, hopefully that will keep some wayward vehicles off of the fields. I think that the fence looks great. I think it looks really, really nice. I think our Public Works guys, headed up by Shane, did a fantastic job. So many thanks to them for putting that in. That's all I've got right now on construction improvement projects in the parks that might affect the sports organizations.
Okay. I mean, if you just want to roll right into.
going?
like,
Okay,
Yeah,
sure.
assistant, unless, and, anybody has questions, but maybe we can hold that until you're done.
Okay. And again, if there's anything that you all see out there that needs to be done that's affecting practices or play or conditions or whatever, yeah, definitely let me know and we can address it. We try to keep a good eye on things, but just in case. So update on fiscal year 2024 approved assistance requests and projects, football field house and press box roofs. We're working those into the schedule for later this month, early next month. Again, should not affect practices or games. The contractor is going to be working during the day, and he's pretty fast. So hopefully that won't interfere with anything there. Is the scoreboard working okay? Everything's good with that? Perfect, yay. What about the HVAC? I know you had said one of the units.
That is still not working.
Okay, all
So
right.
I've asked Bella for W-9 for a few weeks. We will pay that money, but we haven't found somebody that.
Okay,
The outside unit is.
okay. All right, keep me posted on that. Yeah, that, they weren't replaced that long ago, so they should still be under warranty. Maybe, some sort of warranty, I would hope. It depends on what it is, I guess.
I don't know that much about those systems and
Yeah,
people that had them installed are.
I know, yeah, their business went down, yeah.
Excuse me.
Yeah. All right, well, keep me posted on it, on that, okay. The soccer concession building repairs are made. Many thanks to you, and many thanks for donating part of those materials too, I appreciate that, yeah. The stones are gonna be put in, I've got a list for Public Works, so that's on the list to get those stones put in.
It's the main part that could get muddy.
Yes, right. And so the balance, oh, sorry, yes,
And there's one more spot where the electric comes into the building.
okay,
I noticed the U-clamps
okay.
are buckling.
Oh,
So I tried pushing it back and I couldn't get it to push back to put a new clamp on.
okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we'll take a look at that.
It's not falling down, it's just.
Right, it needs to be
like the
secured,
heat- Like the heat, it's buckling the
right.
warping.
Okay, all right, we'll take a look at that. So the balance that was designated for soccer is going to be used on additional whatever in there and other items, and of course, the ever-present field maintenance when we can get out there. It's such a narrow window, but again, we're gonna go in there guns blazing with that fast germinating grass seed, get it aerated, fertilized, and all that kind of stuff, and cross our fingers and hope for the best. So I know with the demand for the fields, it's so hard to, kind of block one off at a time to let it rest and let it germinate and get, established, because they're needed. These fields are needed so badly. But, and again, when the expansion is completed and that alleviates some of the demand or some of the stress on the fields, then we'll really be able to focus on those fields over there at Roberts Mill and get those in tip-top shape, hopefully. Baseball Field One work is going to be done at the end of their fall season. That involves doing some leveling of the infield. We're going to cut the sod, peel it back, level things out, do a laser level for the bases and all that kind of stuff. Put the sod back and get that reestablished. So that'll be a better playing surface for them. Softball, the snack shack was painted, and surprisingly, the snack shack didn't fall down, so we were happy about that. Uh, do you know what that looks like on the inside, Stephanie?
Do I know what?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know what it looks like.
Okay. Do we need to take a look in there?
You know, the biggest improvement that could probably be made is that door that lifts up because birds and
Oh, yeah. Ooh,
crack on the edge.
to get in, yeah, okay. Um,
Buy a few.
Okay, all right. Who's putting the list together for fiscal year '25 requests? Yeah,
I don't know, I'll ask in a few minutes.
okay, all right, yeah, sounds good. If you want to put that on there for further improvements to Snack Shack, we'll see what we can do on that. So the balance of the amount that was designated is available for field dirt. I know I had talked with Steve about that, so I'm not sure if somebody still wants to pursue that or not. If not, then we can use those funds for additional Snack Shack fix-ups. So check with them, let me know. And then I'll add it to the list for the guys. And the field lighting over there for softball, that's gonna be installed in the spring. Yeah, because it's program open space grant funding, it has to go through all the protocols for approval and the funds, to be encumbrance.
Dan says they can't hear them from the gallery seats.
Oh, yeah. A viewer is saying actually Dan is saying, in corresponding, we can't pick you up, pick your voices up because you're
you
not,
guys should just
not
sit
on the
in these
mic.
seats.
Yeah,
It's
just
delegation
take
seat
just
anyway.
stay at the delegation table. Yeah, that's all right. Oh gosh, what was I saying? I'm sorry. That's okay. What were we saying?
2025 fiscal budget.
Yes, right. Right, yes, the field lighting, yeah, because of the State Board of Public Works has to approve the encumbrance of the funding and where they're gonna take that grant funding from the state coffers. We have to wait until that process is done, and then we can roll with the contractor and getting things lined up. But at this point in the year, it's probably not gonna be done until the spring, but at least it'll be ready for, the future, what have you, so. We may keep going?
Yeah,
Keep
might
right on
as
rolling.
well. We're on the
Memorial
roll.
Park Expansion Project. So the county agencies are still reviewing the preliminary site plans. We are waiting on 4 agencies out of the, I think, 12 that we submitted to. They want some changes made, so, what's that? Yeah, we're still waiting. Yes, the health department is one of the last, yeah. Forest conservation is one of the others, and there were a couple of others that I can't recall. But anyway, so once everything comes back, then the engineer is going to make adjustments accordingly on those plans, and then whip up some final site plans, and then we'll go forward through that review process with the county. So, we're not gonna do anything until we get all of the final approvals in, and then, we'll release that RFP and go for the construction, hopefully. So we'll see, hoping to get everything finalized and maybe get an RFP released next spring. So, and then, of course, depending on weather, will dictate how quickly the construction goes. And we'll see, hopefully, but everybody knows the fields are in great demand and the multipurpose building. So we'll do everything we can, within our power anyway, to get it established and ready to go. So,
All right. So for new business, look at this, Lorena's getting ready for her budget. So if you want to just talk about requests and what's needed for those requests.
right.
And then
I just want to say, just go ahead and start making the lists. You know, get those wish list items ready, because the sooner that they're submitted, then the sooner I can start getting prices and start putting ducks in a row. Everything isn't going to be, it's not going to be due until the end of December, but again, the earlier they're in, then the easier it is on me to start reaching out to contractors or getting prices on materials and things like that. And then I'll be sending out emails to request everybody's financial statements and get that all lined up. And then you just want me to go into MOUs?
yeah, sure. Yeah.
And then, again, you know, that time of year as well for the MOUs, so I'll be sending out an email with those for reviews and renewals. We'll get those all signed, sealed, and set for another year. And then, not on the agenda, but I just want to go over just a couple of events that are coming up. The flea market on September 23rd from 9 to 2, not going to affect any sports because that's going to be located over by the gazebo and the rock climbing playground, Nia's playground. So it will be contained over there. And the Harvest Festival on September 30th, 11 to 3. Again, the majority of that's going to be located over by the gazebo, open area, with the craft vendors over in the grassy area between the field to outfield and the large red and blue playground, the merry-go-round there. So I think those will be good. And then Tales of Taneytown and Trunk or Treat, October 28th, 3 to 5. Stephanie, does football have a, you're good for the 28th, right? Yeah, right. Right. I know you have on the 30th, but that doesn't start until later on, right? Start at 3, right. You do start at 3, okay. So Harvest Fest will be finishing up by 3, and then everybody will get out of there. So should have ample parking for that, for you, for your game that day. To the trunk or treat, if you don't have anything going on, then we may use Park Drive, or we may try to put the cars over on the grassy overflow area by the tennis courts. We'll see. Still working with Jody with the chamber on that part of it. But I don't think anything is going to be affecting any of the sports, so. Yeah, and really, I mean, nothing really affects soccer, honestly, because the only thing we really have at Roberts Mill is, you know, the fishing derby. I mean, you know, usually, so. Although that would be a fun place for the Easter egg hunt, wouldn't it? Oh, boy.
Oh, my gosh.
Just
Can
see
you
eggs
imagine how much-
thrown
yeah,
into the pond.
That's a lot of space, yeah.
Right, yeah.
A lot of space.
Oh, my. And that's all I have then.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions up here on the board? Okay. Do you guys have any additional questions, concerns? Nothing? Okay. Any public comment, manager comment? Okay. So next meeting date then, when we all meet together, that will be November 15th, starting at 6:30. And that is it. So with that, thanks for coming. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Did you say?
15th.
Small box.
Except my husband, I had my husband bring him. There's only 25 in there, but if they can find a reason to use
Usually
it.
our last meeting of the, yeah.
I mean, even if it's just the little guys. Yeah, yeah. Okay, fabulous. One more thing.
Awesome. Thank you again. Your check is in the mail, by the way. No, I'm just kidding. It will be. It will be. I submitted that for processing. Thank you.
All right. So with that, welcome to the Parks and Rec Advisory Board meeting, September 13th. And all members are here. Did all members of the board receive the minutes from August 23rd? Got a chance to review? Okay, do I have a motion to approve?
Move to approve the minutes as presented.
All right, Bill approves. Any second?
Second.
All right, got Jerry to second. Is there any additions, corrections, anything? All right, so all in favor of accepting the minutes from August 23rd, please
Aye.
signify by saying aye. Aye. All right, so, let's see. Jen, did you have anything to report to us? Okay, just wanted to make sure. All right, so with unfinished business, so Lorena's going to talk again about all the great things that are happening throughout our parks. And it's a mouthful, so I'll leave that up to you.
Alrighty. First up is update on Bollinger Park. The easement deeds have been recorded. That's for forest conservation, floodplain. We had a water resource buffer and forest conservation management plan. So all of those had to be recorded, and they were. So now, as a reward, we have our full grading permit and our building permit for the 2 boardwalks that are going in there across those 2 small streams. There's a small delay on pouring the pathway. I know I had updated you and you had reported that that was going to be happening next week, but the shipment of the brown rubber material that gets mixed together with the binder and the aggregate stone has been delayed, but that should arrive soon. So we're hoping that that's just a temporary setback and we'll get out there and get that pathway paved. The back stretch of the trail that goes along Piney Creek between the 2 boardwalks, that's gonna be done first. And then what we have right now across those streams are logging bridges, basically. They're very wide so that the contractor's equipment can get back there on that back stretch. So once that pathway gets poured, those logging bridges are coming out and then the boardwalks are gonna be built. Those boardwalks are only 6 feet wide. So once those are in, then the rest of the trail is going to be paved. And then after that, the parking lot and entrance will be paved with asphalt. The parking lot lights and the cameras are going to be going up. The site amenities like benches, bike rack, trash can, dog waste station, and then of course all of the trail signage will be going up. The lights and cameras are going to be powered by solar energy, all in self-contained units on the poles. So that's, I think, very fitting for a nature park to use renewable energy. Wasn't our first choice or planned that way, but that became an alternative when we could not easily get electrical power to the park from the poles that are existent on the adjoining properties. So we should be able to, fingers crossed, and, send good vibes or whatever you can do, to do a soft opening, if you will, late October. And that way we can close out those grants. We've got the 2 grants hanging out there, $150,000 from Department of Natural Resources, Community Parks and Playgrounds, and $231,000 from Land Water Conservation Fund, facilitated by DNR, but that's National Park Service, Department of the Interior grant. So it will be a huge relief to get those grants off the books and reimbursed to us. It'll be a happy day, and as well as a happy day when we have that park opened. It's going to be a beautiful park. It really is. I'm very excited about it.
It's really happening. Are we scheduling like a ceremony?
We
when
will
it's-
do,
Okay.
we will have a ribbon cutting,
Okay.
yes, yeah. So I'm not sure, of course, obviously
course.
it's
Right,
dependent on,
right. No, I understand.
on that and also the weather, but that possibly could be mid-November, not sure.
Okay.
Not sure yet. We'll see how that schedule works
Sure.
out, yeah. Update, does anybody have any questions on Bollinger? Nope.
Excitement. on
Yes,
Ballinger. It's really
finally,
happening.
after so many years, right?
Uh-huh.
Um, All right, do you want me to just keep rolling along then?
Sure.
Okay.
Yep, that's fine.
Update on Memorial Park expansion project, as stated in the TAA meeting, county agency is still reviewing the preliminary site plans. And then, once everything comes back from them, we'll make the adjustments and compose the final site plans for their review and approval process. We presented the preliminary site plans at the August 28th Planning Commission meeting. We are not going to be seeking their approval until we get all of those review letters back from the county agencies. And then, again, same process, once the final site plans are ready, then we'll present to our Planning Commission, wait for all the county approvals and such to come in, and then we'll request approval from our Planning Commission. So, we learned lessons from Bollinger, so, good or bad.
Yes.
Alrighty, and then rolling on, any questions on that one? Sorry? Nope, we're good on that? Okay.
Not everything seems to be just moving at its own pace, but that's the way it goes.
Right, yes.
But it is moving.
It is. That's the important thing to remember. Update on the splash pad. I referred our questions and suggestions that we had from our last meeting back to Metro Recreation, who represents Water Odyssey. I'm waiting to hear back from them. I had a ton of questions, most of which was based on that recirculated water system. You know, ongoing maintenance, winterization, testing for the chemicals, all of that kind of good stuff. Water softener, treatment system, all of that. So I'm waiting to hear back from them. Did anyone besides Jerry and Bill have a chance yet to take a look at that catalog that I sent? Okay. Let me know what features, you know, you love, you'd like to see. And then we can go back to Metro and see if they can fit those in or price them out, or we'll see how it works in with us dropping the square footage down, and then hopefully the pricing.
What did you think about the, like, some of the features they had down there at the Westminster?
At the Westminster Y.
Mm-hmm.
I like it. I like how they utilize the space. It's almost kind of like a wide walkway, corridor type of thing. And they put splash park features in there. From what I saw, I mean, they were pretty basic. You know, you've got a dump bucket or buckets, and then the I guess pillar or they look like bollards basically with sprays and then ground sprays. While it was basic, I thought, well, it was a good utilization of space, you know, and I don't know how much they spent on it. I can always reach out to them if they would share that information. But I think our features are going to be, I don't know, I think they're going to be better. I just think, I mean, you know, a couple of eagles and, you know, some other colorful
Yeah, that'd be fun.
features, you know, and things
Yeah.
like that. I think we're going to have, you know, something that looks really, really nice and is going to be functional as well. So we'll see. But thank you very much for pointing me, in that direction.
I do have a question about that. I'm just
Yes.
throwing it out there. I mean, let's just say we come up with like, I don't know, 5 cool features each or whatever. Is there anything that we can throw back to the community to maybe?
Like a poll, I had considered initially like a.
I mean, just to get an idea
Yeah.
of what people are looking for.
Right,
Because, I mean, sure, we could talk about it all day, but yeah,
right.
I don't know. It's something to
Yeah.
talk over.
My initial idea was, gosh, if I could get like 3 or 4 designs from Metro.
Okay, I mean, that's
And then put those out there
Yep,
to the community with, you know, vote on your favorite, and then, you know, the majority
just
rules.
to like
I don't
get
know.
us started,
Right.
you know, and then we
Provided
can
they were all
add-
priced equally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
of course.
Yeah.
Right, I'm going for the $1 million one.
Right,
Right,
yeah, oh, I'd vote
exactly.
for that too. You know,
Okay.
I didn't have to
that
be
was it.
fiscally
Thank you.
conservative as much as possible. So the timeline on this is to have a design and a pricing proposal I'd like to see it by the end of January, because we'll be moving into our fiscal year '25 budget review and approval process, and Coinciding with that is going to be the capital improvement plan updates as needed. And we already know that we are going to need to modify that figure that we plugged in for that. I based it off of Sykesville's expenditure at their Millard Cooper Splash Park, but that was in 2018, 2019, I think. And prices for materials, labor, everything has just, it's gone through the roof. So that's my goal is by the end of January, we have something that we can work with and move forward with possibly. And as far as the grant application, I applied through the Community Parks and Playgrounds program, but we won't hear anything on that until March at the earliest. So that's where we are on that. But yeah, if you all could forward to me any features that you really liked in that catalog or suggested anything, then I can take this back to Metro and see what they can do with it.
Okay.
There were a lot of similar pieces in the different designs in
Right.
that catalog. And when I went through, I tried to pick out things for all ages.
Yes.
Like a dump bucket, that's an
That's-
older kid's.
That's mandatory though, yeah, you gotta
You
have a
know,
dump
they
on it.
love to just have a dump thing.
Right,
And I thought that some of the almost flush up sprays are more for the smaller kids. And you can place them pretty much anywhere.
right,
Because they don't go very far.
Right.
And, you know, like I pointed out in the email that
yes,
I put out that, you know, there are a lot of nice pieces in there that if we can fit them in, we can fit as much in the space as we can get.
yes,
For a good price.
right, that's,
Always for a good price. That's what we're looking for.
ideally, yes. Update on general park improvements, Flickinger Park, which we had noted before as the priority. It's been kind of deferred for a while, but now that I know all eyes and ears and focus have been on Bollinger and pushing towards that finish line. But Flickinger Park is going to have the two smaller pathways that come from Morning Frost and Bancroft repaved. And then the longer path that actually goes down to the playground that comes off of Keenan Street, that is going to be repaved. They're not all three going to be done at the same time. The two smaller ones first, and then we'll go back and do the longer one from Keenan. We're also gonna add some fill dirt in there and seed it, so, and make sure that everything is laid out so that drainage actually goes down to that storm drain that's right on the edge of the park and doesn't create a swamp there. And then I'm gonna have to take a look at some tree replacements because we did lose some of the Memorial Grove trees, unfortunately. But again, I think I stated that in the last meeting, didn't I? I was thinking about putting willows in. They'll soak up all the water,
Yes.
right? Yeah, they'll be pretty for a little while, yeah. Yeah. As stated in the TAA meeting, the fence between the fields at Roberts Mill and Food Lion and Wance is finished, and that looks great. So thanks again to Public Works. Tree removal and maintenance is going to be done next month at Memorial, Roberts Mill, and THS Park. The tennis court and basketball court lights are going to be retrofitted to LED. That's something that came up because Fern Rodkey, the timer, just kaputs down at the tennis court lights. So Fern Rodkey came out and replaced the timer and said, hey, you know, there are some great incentives and rebates for going on right now. And if you want, we can look into them. And I said, sure, go right ahead. Well, they got a rebate that covered all of the LED lights. So we are, I mean, it was kind of a no-brainer. We said, fine, you know, we'll pay, all we're paying for is their labor to retrofit those. So that's a day's job, maybe a day and a half. They're gonna do that next week. Now, our adult tennis clinic starts on Tuesday, so they're not gonna do it on Tuesday. They'll wait until Wednesday or Thursday to get that done. So that's gonna be nice. It's gonna save on energy, plus the LED lights are gonna be brighter, more efficient, just all around better. And I know a few tennis players have clamored for those in the past, you know, we need some LED lights. These old lights are terrible, you know, what have you. But anyway, so that's an improvement that I'm excited about. Yeah. Playgrounds, they need some additional mulch, so that's gonna be coming in. That's work that, you know, can be done during the slower months, and it's not temperature dependent, so we'll get that taken care of in the next few months. And we are going to have to get more riprap around the pond at Roberts Mill. I know we've discussed this before. We are installing signs, 2 signs, one at each parking lot, that state that displacement of the rocks at the shoreline is prohibited. So that, with advisement for if this is, you know, evidence, please call the police. So that way the police, when they respond, have more recourse
Right.
to address that issue. And hopefully, you know, it gives somebody, you know, some warning. They'll take heed of, oh, it's destruction of property. I don't know, you know. How some of the kids are, they don't care, but hopefully they'll learn quickly that it's not
Those
just.
things that people don't think of.
Right, exactly.
Just a reminder.
Yeah, because those rocks do cost money, and we put a lot into that
A lot of money,
project.
actually. Yeah, a lot of money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Other contract improvements like pavilion concrete at Memorial Park, bleacher pad concrete, that connector sidewalk between Curaleaf and Park Drive. Things like that may have to be deferred until the spring because we're just getting into cooler weather, and a lot of that stuff is temperature dependent. The pathway at Roth Avenue Park needs to be repaved. Again, though, that's on a lower priority. The first priority is Flickinger, and, you know, again, we'll get to some of these other projects when we can. And the tot lot replacement at Memorial Park, that's definitely going to be waiting until the spring because, again, like the softball field lighting, it's tied up with the program open space grant funding, and it has to run through the whole state protocol. So we'll wait until the spring for that as well. And Public Works, they're so wonderful, but they are so busy and backlogged that they're just trying their best to catch up on their own work. So they've just told me, make a list. We'll get to it when we can, you know. So that's what I'm doing, just making a list. And I've got the fall assessments and inspections coming up of all the parks and the playgrounds. So I'm sure there'll be more to add to that list. There's always something. But it's all progress, you know, so, and again, they're doing such a wonderful job supporting us and making, you know,
They've been awesome.
improvements in our
So,
parks.
Public
Yes,
Works.
absolutely.
You guys are awesome. We appreciate you. Really.
Those folks work hard. I mean, and they have
They really have.
regular duties. They need.
Right. And that doesn't include, you know, when emergencies
What
happen,
they're
like
doing,
water main breaks and, you know, things like that. Update on 2023 events, 4 more events this year. Right, well, then, as soon as they wrap up, I mean, planning for
Then we
next
start
year's
again.
events
Yeah,
has
I was
already
gonna
started,
say,
yeah.
That's gonna be our new
Right.
business, right?
Yeah. So we've got the Fall Flea Market next Saturday, 9 to 2, Harvest Festival, Saturday the 30th from 11 to 3, Tales of Taneytown and Trunk or Treat, Saturday, October 28th from 3 to 5, and then the Christmas tree lighting, which I know you're excited about, on Saturday, December 2nd, starting at 4:30. So based on our conversation, post-event discussion last year, we decided to bump up the candy cane hunt from 3:30 to 4:30 because those kids were
Just
quick.
done.
They were
Done.
done, and then they were just kind of standing around like, when's Santa gonna get here, you know, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That works.
So we bumped that up to 4:30, give them a little something to do before Santa rolls in. And I'd like to do the hay rides, well, yeah, the wagon rides again this year. So I'll see if I can get a Public Works volunteer for that tractor driving. Councilwoman Cheney reached out this past weekend to me to see about setting up some Halloween decorations at Memorial Park this year. I think she's hoping to get enough decorations donated to set up a display. Initially, I thought, well, gosh, I wonder if we set this up kind of like a contest, allotting spaces to different people, and then they come and they set up their own decorations. They're responsible for the decorations, setting up and taking down and all that kind of stuff, and then we have some prizes or what have you. But then I thought, well, that's kind of overcomplicating things, you know, if she can get, and are you helping her with that as far as getting donations for Halloween decorations and such?
She has not mentioned that to
Okay.
me. I
Okay.
think that there was,
I know she's out of town right now.
I feel like there was a citizen that she was gonna be working with, but I don't remember
Okay.
who that was.
Okay, all right. But I'm going to recommend that, and that the space allotted be just like away from the gazebo a little bit, but around the rock climbing playground and the Neos and in that area, kind of around the Story Stroll, maybe under the pine trees or something. Primarily because then it won't interfere with any sports activities, athletic activities there. It won't interfere with Tales of Taneytown or Trunk or Treat. And I'm going to recommend that it's set up like that Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, something before the Tales of Taneytown weekend, before October 28th, and then left up until Halloween, and then taken down right after Halloween. Because a couple of concerns. The first one's always vandalism. And which is unfortunate, but that's reality. And then the other is just in consideration of the mowers, because we still have the mowers rolling through all of our parks, all the way through probably about mid-November. Later and later as the, weather,
Right.
continues to stay warm longer into the season, in the growing season. So I mean, I just wanted to run it by you all. Any ideas on that, or do you foresee any issues with that other than possible vandalism? But that's always a concern too when we put up the Christmas decorations. So, and
Gotta tie 'em down.
yeah, and those are up a lot longer. Yeah, it's
Yeah, I mean, I don't see a problem with it, of course, vandals, of course. And then just making sure that you make it clear as to where, so it doesn't interfere with any of the other activities, but you've covered that, but,
yeah.
I mean, I don't see a problem with it.
Okay.
If people want to participate.
Doesn't it, or hasn't the Chamber of Commerce had the scarecrow?
Oh, the pumpkin people?
Oh, the pumpkin people thing? That was done away with. I believe that they used to put them on the utility poles, up and
No,
down.
the different
Baltimore
businesses
Street.
would have them on their, or houses would have them on their
Porches
porches
and such?
or
Okay,
at their entrance
great.
spaces or whatever. I can't remember who was the sponsor of that.
It might have been the chamber. for
I
that
really didn't pay a
contest.
whole lot of attention, except I'd see the things as I'm driving through town and.
Right. I'm wondering, yeah, it was probably either the chamber or the Main Street,
Yeah,
division, or
Mm-hmm.
whatever you
well.
want to call it, the department, but, yeah. I know there were, well, I think that those were kind of done away with simply because of, I guess, there were some safety concerns, especially with the ones on the utility poles, kind of coming undone and going into the roadway as people were driving
Or
through.
people thought there were people crossing.
Right, yeah.
No, really.
That might be
My
alarming.
son, yeah, my
Oh, no,
son
they
thought
were.
it was,
Yeah.
yeah.
I don't recall them being on the,
Oh, no, they were right there, right by the road.
Right.
No, they were. But, yeah.
I like the idea. I think it's cool. My question, I guess, would be, would this be like something that was set up for people to just come and visit on their own, or would this be potentially attached to some type of other, I don't know if you would say event, but some other happenings there where maybe, one of those days where it's set up, it's more interactive and maybe it's, kind of a family-friendly Halloween walk or something like that, or, I'm assuming some of those other events will be kind of going on around that time, so
Right.
there'll be some other activity in the park. So from my perspective, I'd say, if it was something we were going to if it was something we were going to pursue, maybe look for a way to make it a little bit more engaging rather than just having it there and having it open. Maybe finding a way we can, encourage people to come out and participate. What that is, I'm not sure, but
Right.
I think you bring up some very valid points about the potential for things to go wrong in terms of vandals and people being in the park and things like that. But it could also be a fun addition to some of the Halloween festivities going on in the city. So
Right. Well, I'm wondering, I mean, if Councilwoman Cheney and various volunteers or what have you can get enough decorations, I don't know. I also thought of putting them near the story stroll stations. And it would be kind of great if the story was kind of a Halloween themed
That's an
story.
excellent idea.
In which case, they would kind of tie in together, and that would encourage
Yeah,
families
kids to
to
get
go around the
involved, yeah,
story
together.
stroll. And of course, you've got the photo ops, there or what have you. And yeah, it would tie in too with Tales of Taneytown and the trunk or treat, just to have any kind of Halloween, decorations down there wherever they might be. And I'm not quite sure though, as far as power requirements. Because if they're inflatables, obviously they need the air pump, and that kind of thing. So if the majority are inflatables, then they're gonna have to go somewhere near the gazebo, or a couple of poles where we have power outlets where they can be plugged in, and extension cords and all that kind of stuff. But if they don't require power, then maybe by the story stroll stations, or a combination of both or something, I don't know. Yeah, I think that'd be kind of neat. But definitely photo ops for during the events that we'll have down there. Alrighty.
Just have to be careful with the, cords and all that.
Right, yes.
We've had that in the past. Even doing our
Yes.
events, that it got a little dangerous, or kids
Right.
wanted to be like, woo,
Oh,
you know.
oh, yeah. Oh,
Oh,
gosh.
they were.
Yeah.
And that's scary, because it can be dangerous. So.
Yeah, that's right. I think it was the lights that we had strung from the 2 trees near the gazebo. The kids were picking up.
Yeah,
and
they were swinging them. Yeah.
on like
Or
whips and-
jumping over
right,
them,
And, yeah.
and you still had the cords
always
itself
something.
on the ground, just making sure it's
I
not
mean,
a trip
if they
hazard.
do something like a walk, could they like rope everything off so like people obviously know not to go back there and they're less encouraged to do something like that?
That would be great, but again, I guess it would just depend on the timing of setup and takedown.
Yeah. I mean, this is just in the early stages, right? She
Yes.
just reached out to you,
Yes.
so.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe this is something that we can do and like grow as the years go by.
Right,
But the beginning stages right now,
right. Yeah,
because we don't know how many members are gonna participate. We don't know what kind of decorations we have. We don't know how many people are going to help put the it really. So,
yeah,
but maybe I can't imagine a walkway yet.
right.
Not yet, but that would,
Yeah,
but it'd be cool. I mean, if it got bigger and bigger every year.
right.
That'd be awesome.
Well, and I do know a lot of people decorate in town. They decorate their businesses, they decorate their houses, that kind of thing. And you know how we run our holiday decorating contest? People enter, register their houses, and then you all drive around and do the judging or whatever kind of thing. Maybe we do something like that for Halloween too. That way, we list the locations for people. They can, well, hopefully they have transportation to go around and see all of these decorated houses and businesses. And then, offer some prizes for the contest. I don't know, something to consider, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think for as much as a lot of people get spirited and into the, Christmas season, a lot of people also do it for spooky season as well.
Yeah.
There's actually, where I walk with my kids, a lot of really great decorations and things like that. So I could definitely see some people, getting excited about it and potentially, looking to participate.
Okay. Is that something that you think maybe we should, well, that's going to be going into discussion of 2024 event. I don't have anything for additional miscellaneous updates. If anybody has any questions about any of that. All right, so finish this off, then I'll go back to Councilwoman Cheney and just basically give her, here,
Yep.
these are the areas we're thinking of, have at it with rounding up some decorations and getting that set up with the recommended time window for that. All right.
Yeah,
Do you want me to just go ahead and move into new business then?
Since we're
Segue
talking events,
into,
let's
yeah,
go
segue into
next
discussion of
year.
2024 events.
let's do
So with this discussion then of like a Halloween decorating contest and planning for 2024 events and thinking of the budget considerations, do you think that's something that we should or could consider? In which case, I could factor in some prize funding. I think for the holiday decorating contest, we do tiered amounts of gift cards to local businesses. So we could do that. We also have the option of giving free pavilion rentals. So up to you guys. What do you think? I mean, for me, it's a simple thing to plan.
Right.
I mean, slap a flyer together, come up with register your house or business by such and such date, and then another flyer that basically has the addresses listed or what have you kind of thing. And then, again, you guys would judge if you're willing, and then announce the prize winners.
I don't see a
prizes.
problem with that. I think that would be fun, for participation.
Okay.
So is that something you're thinking that for next year? or
Yeah, for
something?
next year.
Wouldn't be something we could put together,
I don't think so. I mean,
just try to keep it small this year.
It's budget, right, budget.
I can go back and take a look to see because I keep a spreadsheet, of course, of all of the expenditures you all have seen are, basic event cost sheets and such, but I also keep a master spreadsheet of all of the events with their budgeted funds. And then as each event closes out and the balances get reconciled, what that event actually cost, and then what the balance remaining is. So let me go back and see if there's any wiggle room there for prizes. And I can also ask local businesses for donations. No Anchovies is wonderful with, they always are happy to give out that free large pizza, gift certificate. So that's awesome.
Well, and that's something too.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, we could keep the prizes small this year, like since we're on
Right.
limited time,
Yeah.
and then, try to plan something a little bigger moving forward and hopefully, like we'll get, you're gonna get probably less participation this year,
Right.
so maybe next year it'll grow and just,
And
just
maybe
keep
we
trying to
can
make
find
it.
sponsors too, and to add to that as we.
Okay, yeah, that sounds good. So we'll do it much like the holiday decorating contest. I'll pick a date in September that they have to, oh God, we are in September. Okay.
You mean this month?
That's right. All right, so,
See,
well,
it flew by.
we'll run it, let's say they have to register by October 1st. And, decorations have to stay up through Halloween, October 31st. And then first week of November, you guys, before October 31st, you guys will have driven around or what have you and
Looked at
taken a
them
look
and
at all of
then
them.
provided you.
Right.
Yep.
Yep.
Like first, second,
Provide
third.
me your top 3 choices, and then we'll announce the winners then the first week of November.
That
Does that sound like a
works.
plan?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Are there any other suggestions for additional events next year? Any ideas or?
And more people to help, we could come up with lots of things.
Did you give any more thought to the whole, incorporating the flea market into a yard sale kind of thing?
Like a community,
Community,
citywide,
Just because I drove through Littlestown the day they had theirs.
good old days, yeah.
That was
yeah.
ridiculous.
Mm-hmm,
People were everywhere.
yeah.
I mean, everywhere. So I don't know. I don't know if that'll help draw more people
Well,
Because I know that you don't have as many vendors for the fall
the
one.
fall one, right,
Or I
yes,
guess
we had
vendors,
for the
more just
spring.
people.
Yeah, well, the thing that I keep thinking of with having a centralized flea market at Memorial Park and then also opening it up to, hey, everybody, do your, your own yard sale thing, and then publicizing it all together. Is that gonna detract from the vendors who are gonna be there at Memorial Park? If people are like, oh, skip that, I'm just gonna,
Right, I'm just gonna
drive
go
around,
up
right?
and down Main
Exactly.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because people hold their yard sales all through the spring,
Right.
summer.
Well, and it doesn't even have to be the
fall.
same day. I just
Right.
wonder if maybe trying to have just a yard sale day or
Right.
weekend, I guess, is typically how they work.
Right.
Maybe separate from the flea market.
I mean, we could do something like that and have a full day, and then people wind up going down to the park, and there could be like food trucks and stuff. I don't know,
I don't know.
or something, or
How would publicity work for that?
You could get like a map, like if you have people register, you can ask them like where they live and like what they plan on selling, like if they plan on selling clothes, sports cards, like kid stuff, and you could like color code it and then have like a map of Taneytown and then like the different houses so people can like map it out. Cause I know like when I go yard selling, I'm looking for like specific things, and if it was a whole community one, it might be more
Yeah,
difficult to figure out
exactly.
what I want.
Yeah, that's a very good idea because, yeah, if you have something ahead of time, like, okay, I want to go get whatever, vintage, clothing or whatever, I'm going to go to this address and this address and that address or whatever, as opposed to just, frantically driving around town looking,
Well, and
wait,
that's
is
it,
there
I
one
don't
down
know.
that street? I can't tell, kind of thing or whatever.
How do they do it
Yeah.
in the other places?
I can reach out to,
I don't know.
That's
I
a
don't
lot
know
of
if they
work. I
actually.
mean, if,
Yeah,
like,
I wasn't
a
trying to put
ton of
more work
people
on you. I was
participating,
just
but
thinking
it
just
is
a
a great
draw
idea.
to the,
No, it's a
to
great idea.
bring people to the town.
yeah,
And then
Yeah.
utilize that draw for something else.
right,
yeah.
whether it be it could be a Main Street event. it
Right,
could
or-
be something down at the park.
Right. Just something to bring them in, take a look around and say, okay, I want to come back for the next event that they have.
Right.
We could do instead of a food truck Friday, a food truck Saturday event.
Yeah.
I'm not expecting you to do it this year or even next. I just was throwing it out.
Right. Well, I'm going to reach out to Littlestown. It's not the borough that coordinates that. So I feel like if it's the fire department auxiliary or if they have a Lions Club or American Legion, somebody who's coordinating that, the good old
Okay.
days. I don't know. Anybody know?
No.
I'll reach out. Oh,
Not yet.
oh yeah, you do. Who participates in that, or is there? Oh yeah, Kevin, of course. Kevin knows everything about Littlestown. What am I saying? Just contact Kevin.
He's even
Yeah.
in the same building as you. You could just be like, knock on his door.
I don't know. They all run when they see me coming. They're like, oh, what?
What
do you want now?
Put it on the list. I told you, put it on the list.
That's right.
Right, yeah, okay. I will reach out to Kevin about that.
All right, what other fun events would you like to see? Doesn't have to be next year, but maybe in the future. So Lorena can put it on her radar. Going.
Anything?
I was thinking, in conjunction with the Food Truck Friday, which seems to be a relative hit, might be able to, one, provide the vendors with a little extra cash and provide the residents with something else to do by providing a music in the park concert from,
You mean in conjunction, same at Family Fun Food Truck Friday, have
Friday, and
a
then
little
just-
concert?
So
fold
get rid
into
of the
a
DJ.
concert in the park?
Yeah.
That
And
might be,
do a-
that might be a good idea.
And do
A new playlist.
'Cause, you know, you may bring in, for your vendors, people who just want to come listen to music and say, oh, God, I can get a hamburger
Right.
and a coffee or an ice cream or whatever. And then you have the people who are there for dinner.
Right.
Oh, they're going to have music.
Right.
Let's stay.
Okay, I like that idea. Everybody in favor of that? Give that a shot? Okay.
with the
There are
new
plenty of bands
playlist.
out there, and
Yeah.
a lot of bands reach out to me and
Yeah,
say,
you've got-
hey, you know, what do you got for me? Can you bring me on
nice.
for any events? You
Right,
know,
even,
whatever.
yeah, local
I've got a
bands or
list.
whatever, anybody that wants, yeah, that'd be fun.
Okay. Okay. Otherwise, we're gonna go with the same events and programs that we've run in the past, and I'm gonna shoot for the same date ranges. I think everything worked out pretty well this
I
past
think
year.
the schedule that we've had the last several years has been full and varied enough to keep people coming back. I mean,
Yeah,
the events that we put on that are pay-as-you-go and the free things and
Yeah,
whatever all seem to be popular, so
yeah.
and it's scheduled enough that you can take a break before you plan the next event, right? I mean, come on.
Look,
No.
I'm getting updates as we go. What about like a cook-off event or a chili cook-off type thing?
Littlestown does that too.
Do they? I know Hanover
Yeah,
does.
they have a chit,
Brewery
yeah.
Fire did.
Did they have one
It
too?
wasn't a chili, it was Bacon Fest that they did a few weeks back.
Ah,
So it was something like that.
So like chili.
Mention it, that sounds great.
great.
No, yeah, but no, I mean, barbecue or something like that, like some type of, food fest or
Food
something like that.
competition would be
Exactly, yeah, I mean,
fantastic.
some type of, go around and you're sampling it and you know, get somebody that's a winner and everything and, it might be a good option.
Right. Okay, I'll look into that. A little more complicated with the health department than just like a food truck
It
or
does
whatever,
get
because those
complicated.
are all vendors who either have food licenses or they know the ropes, and they're good to go
Yeah, the
on
health
their
department
temporary
does
food permit and
require
stuff.
probably a
Oh,
lot of,
yes.
yeah.
I wonder
Yeah,
if Brewery
they're
Fire
crazy.
did that then.
I don't know if Taneytown Liquors does anything for their Tuesday night food trucks.
Yeah.
Review.
But I mean, there's a big difference between a truck
Yeah.
providing food and just
Yeah.
And somebody
somebody
coming in,
else
right,
wanting to cook a
right.
meal.
I've got my grandmother's
Sign a
recipe and I'm
release
gonna
when
do
they come
that.
in.
That's a
Is that
big
what it is? Is
difference
they all have to
with the
sign
health
releases?
department, because you have to have what they say running, like running water, but it's
Yeah.
gotta be like a tub of water, yeah,
Right.
just craziness. Yeah, that might be a little tricky.
Yeah, but I will look into that
Still
and
worth it.
see what the logistics are involved with something like that.
Now that you've made Lorena's head spin.
Why would you ask us these questions?
Right, do we have any other ideas for events from anybody that's sending messages to Judy? From the community? No, from the community.
That's right.
Who is, yeah. No?
Have you guys seen those like painting in like the park where like somebody like leads people to
Oh, I
paint?
do like those too.
Do you think I've never actually been there, but the pottery place down there, don't they do like paint nights like that too? Like they might be able to.
Firehouse Pottery,
Like
yes.
fundraisers and
She
stuff?
has done a couple of events like that, yeah. Yeah,
But they're not hard to do, and you can actually hire somebody who will do it. I know the schools used to do it as fundraisers too. Shoot, you could probably get the art teacher up there at FSK to do one for us.
You could always like add that on with like Wine Fest instead of doing that like as a separate thing. Like we could have like a tent where
During.
you do that.
Oh,
kind
that
of
would be
thing
fun.
with, like,
Oh, boy.
everything.
Yeah,
Or you could do it as a separate thing, but still
Yeah.
include wine or something like that.
yeah,
Have it
that
be
would
like
be
a-
fun to, yeah, that would be
sip and
fun.
paint
Yeah,
type event.
kind of like a, yeah,
Yeah,
a dance night. Yeah, a dance night of,
yeah,
yeah,
that's true.
art and, yeah.
That's a good idea. I don't want to take away from our local businesses, though, on that Firehouse Pottery, or I know that the $9 Carriage House, they have, they run events. various events.
So maybe
you know,
we
like
could
that.
partner with them.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, that'd be a
And
great
just do
idea.
it in the park.
Do it in the park, right.
And, yeah,
Sure.
doesn't
Okay.
matter, we would just have to provide whatever.
Right.
Or work with a,
Provide the
know.
space, provide the
yeah, a wine
publicity.
vendor or something, you know, whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah, and that might even be something that could be done at Bollinger Park once it's, you know, in operation.
oh, yeah.
That would be pretty.
Sure, be
That
some
would be
nature
super
views
cool.
there.
Paint like the wildflower field.
Yeah, yeah,
Pollinator
the
garden
pollinator gardens, yeah.
I like that. That's
with a
nice.
big tire bear.
That's right. That's right. Oh, speaking of that, I didn't include that in my update on Bollinger Park, but the sculptor who is working on that, Noah Russell, who's working on the
Bears?
mama bear and the baby bear, the Bollinger bears. He is finished with mama and is now, he's finishing up on baby.
So nice.
So we shall see what this will
Exciting.
look like. Yeah, yeah. I'm excited to see this. All right. All right. Well, I'm going to cut that off because I've got enough to go on now.
Wait, she
do
said
you
I
wanna know- do you
can't
wanna know
do
last week you said
anymore.
me?
Who is this? Is this your husband who said this? Or is
Open
this
mic
Dan?
night.
Oh,
the
boy.
gazebo.
Oh, my gosh. Open mic night.
Karaoke in the
Karaoke in the gazebo. Oh, my gosh.
No. I'll let
We
Fire
could
handle that or
probably
something,
put
yeah.
that together with the wine fest too.
Right here, really. Oh, boy. Yeah,
Get
really.
a lot more people trying.
And they keep coming.
That's right.
Oh, my.
I'm just gonna turn it over.
Enough for, yeah, that'll be enough for Lorena to try to figure out, plan, and maybe come back to us with what could possibly happen. I mean, some of those are really big events, like the Wine Fest is exhausting.
Oh, yes.
A full day, and it's a lot of work, so. I want to thank you, Lorena, seriously, before we go any further, because one-woman show, making all that happen, like, seriously, that is like rock star material, so I do appreciate everything you do, because it's crazy. It's really crazy, and then to plan, like, even further down the road, so, no, I appreciate it, so thank you.
Oh, well, it's my pleasure. Anything I can do for the community. And again, I appreciate all of your support. Couldn't do it without you. So we make a great team and again, the community benefits. So,
Absolutely.
all right.
I have heard from folks around town and outside of town that they are amazed at the difference that you have made in their programs.
Oh, wow. Well, it's not just me. So I don't want to take all the credit,
big
but,
part of
you know.
Yeah,
99%.
there are a lot of people that have had a hand in it, but you're the one that's had the head in it.
Well, yeah, I appreciate that. I'm glad that people are starting, are taking note of
People are
Taneytown.
realizing
Yeah.
the changes.
Well, that's awesome. I want that to be out there, that, this is a great place to live, it's a great place to work, it's a great place to raise a family, to spend some time.
And have fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.
So, all right, well, I'm going to move on to discussion of possible capital improvement plan modification. So as referenced earlier, based on the final numbers that we get back on the splash pad, we are going to need to update that figure. And again, trying to coincide that timing with the budget review and approval process and the CIP update at that time that we're trying to coincide. We are also going to need to request a modification on the Memorial Park expansion project. What we had budgeted for that is somewhat underfunded. The big expenses being the field and parking lot lighting and the multipurpose building. The lighting especially. Did not realize how expensive that lighting is. 4 fields, 2 parking lots, the connector road, coming in or what have you. the initial quote that we received from the lighting company that has been working with our engineer was almost as much as what we had budgeted for the whole project. Yeah, so we went back and we said, you know, we've got to reduce this number. We can't, you know, we can't roll with this. So we're working on that. The multipurpose building, because of the nature of it, because it's not just one big open pole barn, if you will, because it's the 3 sections, is a little more expensive than what we had initially budgeted for as well. So once all of that hashes out, then, and we have a number that's closer to what we know we're going to spend on that project, we'll have to update the CIP. So those are the 2 big projects coming up that are going to be pricey, especially the expansion project. But we know we need it desperately. And then, of course, as material prices increase, labor prices increase, I'm going to need to go back to the entire CIP for our future projects and start reevaluating those numbers that we've plugged in there, because I don't think they're realistic anymore. And they're a good ballpark for some of them, like the playground replacements or what have you, but I think some of the other ones I'm just gonna need to reevaluate, right? I would rather do it now, and I know that, you know, prices change all the time. If we do it now, you know, in 5 years, we're gonna have to modify it again, but better to have kind of a rolling update, if you will, as
Than a big
opposed to,
shocker.
than a big
Yeah,
shocker,
yeah,
right?
in 5
Ignore
years.
everything, you know, 5 years out for right now, get to that later, and then when we get there closer to it, oh, well, it's jumped, you know, it's tripled now, and like you said, a big shock, so. So we'll see how that all shakes out.
Okay.
Well, with the updates to the existing parks and properties, and the Memorial Park underway, that project underway, and Bollinger Park nearly completed. We have one other large property for development.
Right.
And as I envisioned it, it's not going to, I don't think it's going to be extremely, it's going to be expensive, but it's not going to be overly expensive, because there's not a whole lot of site preparation that needs to be done. A little bit of infrastructure, road and pathway, parking lot. And some parking lot doesn't even need to be paved.
Well, we also have to
Parts of that
consider,
property can be used as parking.
right, well, we also have to consider as well, there's no electricity out there, there's no water.
Exactly,
there's
but
no
I'm
sewer.
saying,
Yeah.
yeah, we're gonna have to pay for the
Well, also,
infrastructure to
right,
get
don't
it.
we have to deal with the road issue too, line of sight, all that good stuff? Because we've got a big.
The dog
curve.
leg,
Yeah.
the dog leg is harrowing, yes. So,
So it's more, yeah, there's more to it than.
right. And now that Public Works, now that it's been determined that that location out there is not ideal for the Public Works facility,
Okay,
then we've lost that inroad on some infrastructure
yeah,
with power and water and sewer. Not that we need water and sewer so much, but we'll need the power for sure
yeah,
out
exactly.
there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And who knows? I mean, when we get to that point of starting to look at the engineering process and what that park can be used for, it may need to change from being a festival event, a venue park, to we need more athletic fields. It could change to that. In which case, you know, we may not need infrastructure for that if we don't have access to power or water and sewer. Then we possibly could put fields in there that aren't lit, but are at least available for whatever, you know, practices and games that can be played without lights out there. It would help alleviate some of the burden that will be on there, because the town continues to grow, as you know. And the expansion project, those 4 fields, that's going to alleviate some of the burden and the demand, but we're not going to be above that.
Right, we were already behind when we
Right.
started the project.
Exactly,
So
right.
now that we have, I mean, and you know, obviously the town's gonna grow and there's gonna be more kids that come in. So when you're looking at 30 teams just for, you know, soccer alone, that's crazy. So yes, we knew in our heads like that we had to have it, but now we're still behind. Like we got there, but now we need to think again. So,
Right.
yeah.
Exactly, right. And Mountain Brook, the development that is going to be coming in behind Memorial Park and adjacent somewhat to the expansion part, they've been very generous in their willingness to donate, I believe it's, I can't remember the acreage now.
I think it was 5.
4 or 5 acres, yes, so that we can put additional baseball fields on there. So we'll most likely put 2 smaller fields on versus one big, a large 90-foot diamond. That way it just gives them some more flexibility as well. But even with that, I mean, that's just catching them up as well.
Right.
So it may be a consideration that we need to look at, is instead of an event venue, to just continue to use Memorial Park for our events and go forward with maybe athletic fields out there on Stumptown Road at Festival Park.
Guess it's gonna be what it's gonna be. We'll find out soon enough.
It will, yes, yes.
Yeah,
We'll have to make that determination as we
Yeah.
get down that road. So
all right.
that is all I have.
That was plenty. Does anybody have any questions with everything that Lorena presented tonight? Okay. All right. So, Ms. Fuller, is there any reports from council to provide us?
I don't think so. I'm just really glad that you're back. Don't ever leave
I
again.
was like,
Don't,
on
just
one
don't ever do that.
meeting.
I was not ready for that.
Yeah,
No,
sorry.
it's
I didn't
okay.
mean to put that pressure on you, but thank you for missing me.
Of course.
Thank you for
I
missing
tried to talk each and every one of them into doing it, and they didn't want it.
No? Oh, come on.
No, as
Well,
usual.
one of these days, somebody's gonna have to get ready for it, so just letting you know.
Looking at you, Emmanuel.
Any comments from the board? Mr. Harvey, do you have anything to share?
Yeah, I just wanted to make one quick comment, just kind of piggybacking on the Festival Park conversation a bit, and also addressing a little bit of, communication from the TAA meeting. And it's something that we've been hearing for years, like many of our other issues with space and things like that. And I think we've made a great improvement towards that outdoor field space. And, the Junior Eagle Soccer Program is doing a phenomenal job with utilizing space at Northwest and pretty much everywhere they can. But I think as a town, we still have that large need for an indoor recreation space. When you hear that the cheer program has doubled in size, that's a great sign for their program and things like that. However, it's my belief that in the day and age that we're in, with youth sports being, very popular, more competitive sometimes in nature and things like that, if we're not able to offer high-quality programming, then people will look to go elsewhere for that programming. So if we're going to continue to be at a deficit in terms of indoor space for cheer or basketball, who we haven't heard from in quite some time,
Right.
eventually those programs are gonna feel that, and when they already have to some extent. So I don't necessarily believe this to be a Parks and Rec problem per se. However, if there's anything that we can do moving forward, whether Festival Park maybe has space for a facility, whether it is just an open pole barn type facility where you can do some of those things and it's not too complex. Just think it's something that should continue to be on our radar as we continue to develop, the town and the offerings and the opportunity for sports and recreation to happen here.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Mr. Holmes, do you have anything for us tonight? Ms. Kilby, do you have anything? Nope.
I am commented out.
You're commented out, okay. I'd have to say, I mean, I do agree, that again, we can build it and we're still gonna be, needing more space. So, of course, if anybody has hit the lottery in Taneytown, you would like to give, any kind of structure, to Rec and Parks, please see Lorena. Yeah, so we can make that happen. So, with that, any comments? Sorry. All right, no additional comments? We good?
No for me?
All right,
Public
so-
comments?
Huh?
Public comments? Do you have
Public
any?
comments? Oh, okay, look,
Yeah, come up to
I
the
asked
microphone.
last time and he didn't come.
Sit there.
so that Dan won't get angry at
Sorry
me.
about that, Jen.
So just a couple things, just jumping back, there was some talk about the pumpkin people that I believe was a Main Street effort years ago. And when, after a year or two of zip tying the pumpkin people to the light posts, it was decided that wasn't really the greatest idea, because it did cause some motorists concern, thinking there was actually a person like right at the edge of the street. But I think the decision was that it was kind of getting a little old, so the decision was to give it a little break. And just touching on, we talked a little bit about like paint nights or doing some kind of an art-related thing. This evening, while we're sitting here, the Main Street Arts and Entertainment Committee is meeting down at the police station. And they've been talking about doing some kind of like public art activities in conjunction with some of their events. So it might be something to partner with. Now they're geographically limited to the Main Street corridor, which is, basically the downtown area. So they aren't supposed to be doing things down in the parks. But that doesn't mean that Parks and Rec can't partner downtown. So something to keep in mind. So, the more we can like work with other committees and things, the better.
Absolutely.
So, that's certainly something we can delve into a little bit.
Yes, definitely.
And, and just to kind of piggyback on Lorena's comments about the capital improvement program, the costs that we've been seeing lately are very disappointing. And we do expect, while we have now implemented a park impact fee that we never had prior to, I guess the Meads Crossing subdivision, that's only been implemented in the last few years. With that and a fee in lieu of open space are kind of the big funding mechanisms for the internal funding with the city. So every new house that gets built that doesn't dedicate open space dedicates $1,500 as a fee in lieu of open space. And now they also have a $1,000 park impact fee. So right now, we expect there to be kind of a dry spell on development. Now that the Meads Crossing subdivision is built out, there's nothing else really big in the pipeline that's gonna hit for a few years. So while we have spent a lot of that park impact fee or committed it to capital projects now, it's not being replenished. So that makes Lorena's search for grant funding even more critical, and the need maybe to explore additional opportunities, because it's not to be doom and gloom, but there's going to be a dip in that revenue. So, you know, once we have capacity to bring more development online and the market supports that, you know, those funds will start to be replenished, you know, as each house is built. But for the next couple of years, it's gonna be a little slim, so just, that's gonna play out when we revisit the capital improvement program and we're having our talks for the next fiscal year budget. So we're trying to update that capital program each year going forward and keep it a rolling 6 years into the future. But we may see some projects get pushed out farther into the future because we're not having the revenue coming in to replenish what we're spending for the projects that are in the works right now. So I thought that might give a little more background and kind of frame the issue a little bit, so.
Yes, thank you, Jim, I appreciate that.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, that was a little doom and gloom, sorry. It is a little bit. But I get it. Yeah, you have to have it. Well, it's reality.
It is,
Yeah,
so.
it is. But that's okay.
So you
I'm-
can be mad at me, not organized.
No, not at all. No, I mean, we did what we needed to do with the funds that we had. And I think we've seen an amazing improvement throughout Taneytown. So whatever happens in the pipeline is what it is. Like, nobody has control of that, you know? So, you know, we do what we can continue to do with what we have and go from there, so.
Great.
But thank you, I appreciate that. All right, if nobody else has any, no? Okay, so our next meeting date, hopefully this is right, October 11th at
Yes, that is correct.
6:30. And that will be just us.
Correct,
I'm wondering if we could just, it doesn't have to be on this meeting date. I'm just throwing it out there. Maybe we can talk later. Maybe just to visit Ollinger Park. Like, I don't know if it's safe to visit, like, and just, like, not explore deeply, but just to get an idea of where we are. Just throwing it out there. I'll let you think about it, but that's fine. I'm just saying it would
Who
be
feels
fun.
comfortable
I'm very
off-roading?
excited. So what I'm saying is I'm really excited.
I'll
I wanna
drive
visit.
the
so-
golf cart.
Okay, all right.
just kidding.
So, I don't know. You determine, you know, what it, and if we can come up with a date and whoever wants to join, like, I just wanna go see it, like, I wanna walk on it. Okay,
Okay.
that was it. So with that, I will take a motion to adjourn.
Well, if anyone, before we do
okay.
that, sorry, if anyone wants to take a site visit or field trip out there to Bollinger, let me know, and we can do that. Okay, obviously, yeah, you do, right, yeah.
Pretty sure I knew that one.
Right. I think it would be best to leave our vehicle parked
course.
at the entrance there, and then
Yeah.
we would just do a
Yeah.
hike around, yeah, so.
I mean, whoever
Weather's
wanted to
gonna be
venture.
beautiful next week,
Yeah.
so.
I just, when I passed it, I got super excited, and I know they've done a lot more work, and yeah, I'm giddy about it, so,
Yeah,
yeah, that was it.
okay.
So we'll come up maybe with something, I don't know.
Yeah,
You'll
that's
let
it.
us know.
We can either do it as a group or, well, if we do it as a group, then we have to announce that as a meeting, as part of, you know, because of the
Okay.
Open Meeting
Okay.
Act. And so in which case then, we'd have to
Gotcha.
welcome, you know, the public. It would be open to
Okay.
them, but, so
All right, well, maybe,
I'm a little concerned with the park not being opened.
okay,
Yeah,
no, it's fine.
yeah, safety and
Then I
liability.
will withdraw my excitement of going.
I can take you, I can take individually, what is, I think it's two,
individually.
isn't it
Okay.
two? It's a two. Yeah,
Okay.
so,
Gotcha.
yeah.
Well, we'll see what everybody else would like to do. We'll, you know, whatever.
Or you
But-
can
but
test
if
the
it doesn't-
neighbors and just drive there yourself and just have at it. Those logging bridges are wide enough for vehicles to go across still, so if you've got four-wheel drive, I'll give the contractor a heads up.
Let's go.
Yeah.
All right. All right. So, depending on that, I can withdraw my happiness, but if not, we'll try to work something out. Okay.
Okay.
So with that, we'll take a motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
All right, I got one from Bill. Do I have a second?
Second that motion?
Well, thank you. I have a second. All right, all in favor of adjourning, please signify by saying aye.
Aye, aye.
Aye. All right, see everybody in October.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
It looks like they don't want to